On March 1st, 2024, the world lost an absolute titan of creativity. Akira Toriyama, the mind behind the legendary Dragon Ball, passed away at just 68 years old. But this isn't just the story of the series that made him a global icon. It's the story of a reluctant genius, a man whose unique vision completely reshaped entertainment as we know it. And to really understand his legacy, we first have to look at the world he left behind. To really grasp the scale of Toriyama's impact, you just have to look at how the world reacted to his passing. This wasn't just a small news item. No, this was a global event, one that showed just how deeply his creations were woven into the very fabric of our culture.
Tributes started pouring in from places you would never expect. And these weren't just stiff, formal statements. They were personal. Take French President Emmanuel Macron, for instance. He shared a drawing that Toriyama had actually gifted him. It was this direct, personal connection that showed a genuine love for his work, way beyond politics.
And that was just the beginning. The chorus of voices just exploded. We saw official condolences from the governments of China and El Salvador. On social media, get this, the hashtag with his name actually trended higher than the US President's State of the Union address. And on the streets from Mexico City to Buenos Aires, thousands of fans gathered for these massive impromptu vigils, all raising their hands to the sky for a spirit bomb. Of course, the creators of giants like Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach all came out to honor the master who paved the way for them. This was more than just fandom. As Japan's own government put it was a staggering display of cultural soft power.
So this massive global reaction just begs the question, right? How did one man, an artist who is famously shy and private, create something so powerful it crossed every border and every language barrier on Earth? Well, to find that answer, we've got to go back to the very beginning.
His journey wasn't some straight shot to the top. Not at all. In fact, you could say he kinda stumbled into it by accident. Toriyama didn't start in a manga studio. He started out designing posters at an ad agency. It was a safe job, but he absolutely hated the routine. So at 23, he just quit. He had no job, he needed cash, and he happened to see an amateur manga contest. So he figured, why not? What happened next was a solid year of failure. He drew something like 500 pages of stories and every single one got rejected. He was this close to giving up for good. But one editor, a man named Kazuhiko Torishima, saw something special in his drawings. He sent Toriyama a telegram telling him to keep going. That one little act of encouragement, well, it changed everything. And with that little push, Toriyama didn't just find his stride, he hit a gear nobody even knew he had. He was about to create not one but two of the most legendary manga series in history, one right after the other. First up was Dr. Slump. This wonderfully weird sci-fi comedy about a goofy inventor and his super strong robot daughter, Arali, was a gigantic hit. It was full of puns and silly humor, and it made Toriyama a household name in Japan, selling an unbelievable 35 million copies. But then came the behemoth. Just as Dr. Slump was wrapping up, Toriyama launched Dragon Ball. And the scale of this thing is it's hard to even comprehend. We're talking over 260 million copies sold across the globe. It wasn't just a manga anymore. It became a worldwide cultural phenomenon, with its story of friendship, pushing past your limits, and always striving to be better. And you can literally see his artistic evolution right here on the screen. On one side, you've got the playful, rounded, comedy-focused art of Dr. Slump. And on the other, the sharp, energetic, and iconic style of Dragon Ball. It's a visual leap from pure silliness to epic adventure. So while Dr. Slump made him famous at home, Dragon Ball was something else entirely. It actually started out as a funny adventure, kind of a parody of the old Chinese story Journey to the West. But as it went on, it morphed into this high-stakes martial arts epic that would go on to define the genre for generations to come. But Toriyama's universe wasn't just stuck on the printed page. Oh no. His style was so unique and so in demand that it spilled right over into the world of video games. And he ended up becoming a key architect for some of the most beloved games ever made. He was the character designer for the entire Dragon Quest series, a franchise so big in Japan that the release of a new game is practically a national holiday. He created the unforgettable cast for the legendary RPG Chrono Trigger. His art was the soul of other games too, like Blue Dragon and the Tabal fighting games. For millions of us, his style is just as tied to video games as it is to manga.
And he had a really brilliant and simple philosophy for designing these game characters. He knew they'd be shrunk down to these tiny little pixel sprites on a screen, so his top priority was to give every single character one bold, distinguishing feature. A crazy hairstyle, a unique piece of clothing that would make them pop no matter how small they were. It's just genius design.
So what was it? What's the secret sauce that made his work last for so long? It's not just one thing. It's this perfect mix of his one-of-a-kind art and a creative spirit that has left its mark on just about everyone who followed him.
Just look at his signature here. It's as full of life and personality as his drawings. His style, those clean lines, the super expressive faces, that perfect blend of cartoonish fun and raw action, it basically became the visual language for an entire generation of manga. When you see his art, you just know it's his. It's absolutely unmistakable.
And that unmistakable style? It influenced pretty much everyone who came after him. The creators of modern legends like One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach all say he was their biggest inspiration. The list just goes on and on, from Fairy Tail to My Hero Academia. It's like one professor said, there's a DNA of Toriyama's work, and you can see it in almost every action manga that's come out since.
But what's really amazing is that despite this monumental legacy, Toriyama himself was just so humble about it all. In a rare interview from 2013, this is what he said. He didn't think of himself as some great artist trying to send a deep message. His goal was simple, to make entertaining stuff. He just wanted to make Japanese boys happy. The fact that his work blew up and was loved by the entire world, he admitted he'd never really understood why.
And all of these incredible worlds, all this global phenomenon, it all came from this one place. This is his uniquely designed home and studio in his hometown. For a man who famously avoided the spotlight, this was his entire universe. This is where those stories were born, before he sent them out to the rest of us. In the end, Akira Toriyama was a guy who just wanted to draw cool things. He was just chasing pure entertainment, and in doing so, he accidentally created this universal language of adventure, friendship, and never giving up. And while his own pen is now at rest, his incredible legacy lives on in every single artist he's inspired. Which really only leaves one last thought. Whose world will he inspire next?